96 kubala lokukhulu kwebantfu eqedziwe eveni jikelele kusukela emadolobheni lamakhulu kuya kulamancane nasemakhaya imbala.
People of South Africa opened their doors to a brighter future. Thank you, South Africa.
Ya leboha Afrika Borwa. Re tshepetse ho wena jwale tshepela ho rona bakeng sa dintlha tseo di hlokang.
I don't think we can improve on it.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah, I think we've got it in the can. Yeah, it's nice.
The country has just emerged from an apartheid system to a democratic system. Arising out of that has been the desire for the new government and the new found freedom to know how many people there are in the country.
On October the 10th, 1996, 100,000 South Africans set out to count our population in the first census of our new democracy. Their task was to try and answer the questions: who are we, how many of us are there, and where and how do we live?
When you take off in an aircraft and you look down over the formal suburbs with the swimming pools and the high walls, and then you're moving over the formal townships, and then you've got the squatter camps with a terrific concentration of people, and then you're going over the farms, which are spread out over enormous distances. And somehow across those amazingly different circumstances, you have to get into each household and find someone who can give you 40 items of information about each individual in that household. That's a census. The earliest stage is you've got to parcel up your country into 80,000 areas of about 150 households each, because that's your accounting system. You know that you've got one enumerator in each area. He or she ideally has some kind of boundaries to where they must work and a map. But there are large tracts of South Africa, especially because it was balkanized under apartheid, that haven't been recently mapped or even overflown by aerial photographs. So how can you work the boundaries?
The areas are hardly planned. You have a lot of shack settlements that do not have any perceivable plan, or rural areas in tribal authority areas which do not have any kind of plan. We had to number the houses, use spray paint and go from house to house and provide numbers for those houses so that the enumerator in his record or her record would know that those are the houses that they have to visit and make inquiries on the people that slept there on the night of the 9th, between the 9th and the 10th.
Terkena Eric Mbaim. Re mo lefapheng la mmala batho re zamantse re penta nomoro re lokisa mmala batho tla ba teng ka di-10 October until 31. So ngwana nomoro e so that re ska itsa double counting gore ntho re overlap gore a ska tshella mo place re mo fa yone nomoro tse ke le di berekisa ka mmala batho ba tsena ntlo le ntlo tsone because la bona mo high mo nomoro tsa teng di tsamaya ka sequential. So ne kopa le fetile re re pente nomoro. Okay.
Had to bring our own paints, and we put up our own numbers. And what was surprising, people were excited that now people won't get lost if they visit us. We've got numbers that we can tell them exactly where do we stay.
Census 96 will open the door to a brighter future for all South Africans.
South Africa is an enormously diverse country with terrific differences of access to media, therefore, related to people's different incomes and educations. So you have to use different ways of getting out to make people aware of this event that's coming. Because if you don't secure their trust and thereby their participation, you've compromised the validity of your numbers. So publicity isn't a lekker add-on. It's fundamental to the validity of the final outcome that people are aware and buy into the enterprise.
To win that trust, the census team had to find ways of reaching people where they actually live. They relied on a variety of ways to do this: radio, television, and traveling roadshows. They went to informal settlements, to schools, and to factories to alert people to the coming of the census.
Ukuthi ngathi ungasuka nje namhlanje umusuka la ufike ekhalendeni yakho umakhe umhla ka-10 i-10 zika-October kumele kube ilanga elibalulekile kakhulu. Kuzofika abantu abazoza endlini labo bantu ababaziwa ngokuthi ama-enumerators. Labo bantu laba kanti kuzobe kuwabantu abasuka kwalona kwa-Census. Kanti labo bantu bazobe benamakhadi abo. Lelo khadi lizobe limchaza ukuthi ubani igama lakhe, lisho nenamba yakhe, lichaze ukuthi usebenza kuphi. Kanti loyo muntu loyo nofana omdala uye umuntu ozobe engena izindlu nezindlu ekuhuye ozobe ebala lapho. Census is a power.
Training becomes a very important thing. Literacy and knowing the area itself is very important, and being respected in that area where you are going to do your work is a key issue that will make or break a census.
Whether you are a tourist, a foreigner, like she's saying, some people are crooks, they are here illegal, doesn't mean maybe they are crooks. But it's very important for a person to answer the questionnaire, to give us a clear indication, or to give the CSS a clear indication how many people are living in South Africa.
Let's say you're asking too much of a question. I'm not prepared anymore to answer all those questions. So what must I do? Should I spoil the paper or report the matter to the chief?
If somebody refuses to give information, don't ask why. Do not make even assumptions on your own. Make people feel free. We just need a number of people in South Africa. How many people are in South Africa? And the conditions they're living in. Whether how many people are working, how many are unemployed. The kind of dwellings that they're living in. The services that are provided for them. This is very important. For primary health care, to build schools, to create employment. This, I can say, is a structure or a foundation to create RDP.
But the selection and training of enumerators did not go as smoothly everywhere. In some places, tensions around who got the jobs almost derailed the process.
I remember the meeting at which I gave a flying guess that for 80,000 jobs, given the fact that there are 300,000 unemployed black matriculants in this country, we were going to be oversubscribed by about 4 to 1. I was wrong. It was worse than that. There were 550,000 application forms to be sorted in these 73 centers for people who met the criteria, having an ID book, the right educational minimum, some knowledge of the experience, local language, in a matter of days, for those people to be ready for the training as the academics trained the controllers who were then ready to train the people who were meant to come online out of the recruitment process. Now imagine that happening in 73 offices.
In Kliptown, as in some other places, the training of enumerators was interrupted by people who believed that they were being denied jobs by local officials who practiced nepotism.
You see all these people here, it's all people that also applied, but it seems as if they were selected, these people. These are all unemployed people. They're all looking for work, and they are not one of them. Have been, because there is differences between the ward councillor and people here, so they are not part and parcel of this.
If you don't want a good process for your own government, this is a
No,
disgrace.
We are not going to allow that to happen. No. That is my legal. That is my democracy. Yes.
It was that vibrancy that ensured that the process was, one, transparent, and two, that there was no nepotism. Because it was through that process that nobody could bring a brother in, or a sister in, or a father or a mother, especially among the black community. It was that which actually checked our processes on the ground.
When people are being given a hope of something, you need to clarify everything that you're going to do with them. What we did, we were not trying to be funny at anybody, but we were exercising our rights to say, you wanted us to participate, or you gave people false hope. What are you doing to help those people whom you have gave hope to, whom you have raised their hopes that this is the things that you are going to do?
If the census sharpened local tensions, it also forced people to find resolutions to their problems. In Kliptown, people who were excluded from the initial training were allowed to join, and the process continued.
So do you agree to the proposal that...
On our side, we agree 100%.
100%?
100%.
That's great.
As you're moving to your deadline day and hoping like hell that the questionnaires are going to come out of the printing process in time to be able to be trucked around the countries and meet up with the trained people in the right languages in these areas in time to get out on 10th of October.
To execute an exercise of such huge proportions, the Central Statistical Services employed a temporary workforce that was larger than the National Defence Force. Around 500 tons of paper was used to produce all the different census forms, and more than 6 million kilometers were traveled in 5 weeks to distribute 25 million questionnaires, 14 million pamphlets, 4 million educational comics, 10 million stickers, 200,000 boxes, 250,000 pens and pencils, and 2 million information sheets to 73 regional offices, and from there to the South African population.
Census 96, good afternoon. Can I help you? Go to Sangoxiza.
This is the census, eh?
Yes, this is Census 96. Can I help you, sir?
Yes. What's the census about? What's this?
It's talking about counting everybody in South Africa.
How are you going to find out this? I mean, how are you going to find out? Going to more house to house?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. And you're going to come into my house, count my people?
Yeah, well, welcome by your house and count how many you are.
In some areas, the problems were larger than the census itself. In Nebo, people unhappy with the fact that they were included in the northern province rather than Mpumalanga, when the map of the new South Africa was drawn, used the census to force the national government to resolve their problem. Simon Ralebibi, regional census manager, attempted to contain a situation that threatened to erupt into violence.
We are saying as ANC Alliance, the census must just continue. And then we are saying again, anyone as his democratic right as an individual or as a family member. But the general feeling we are saying census must continue as planned by the government.
I want to know about this threat. Can you tell me about this threat, please?
I received about 3 telephone threats yesterday, early in the morning. And then while those, I'm used to these telephone threats, but those ones were different because seemingly the forum, if you continue carry census, they're going to ban cars, they're going to make sure treat a campaign, something like that. Some of the threats taken on right now.
The real problem is this boundary dispute. So the people are saying they don't want census up or anything to do with the government up until they go to Mpumalanga, not the Northern Province. So now they're saying there's no census because they want to go to Mpumalanga first. So then they are not prepared to talk to anyone.
I've got Robert Lau that has got no vehicles. I've got Elmarie and Thomas and Lazarus fighting over vehicles. Moving these boxes nicely into
Yeah. But that one is fired. We will not have criminals in our team.
The printer hasn't printed in time. They promised us by 12 noon. It's not finished. They haven't even done half of the first run of the first document.